The old steam train chugged along the winding tracks, cutting through the misty hills and valleys. The engine, painted black with red accents, puffed out clouds of steam as it made its way through the picturesque landscape. Passengers inside the cozy carriages looked out the windows, watching the rolling hills and scattered pine trees pass by. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of coal and fresh earth. The conductor, dressed in a classic uniform, walked through the carriages, checking tickets and chatting with passengers. "All aboard for the scenic route," he announced, smiling. The train wound its way through mountains, the whistle blowing occasionally as it navigated sharp curves. Some passengers took photos out the windows, capturing the breathtaking scenery, while others settled into their seats for a nap. As the train traveled deeper into the hills, the scenery shifted from dense forests to open meadows. Wildflowers swayed in the breeze, and the sound of birds filled the air. Passengers talked among themselves, some reading books, others gazing out at the breathtaking views. A family with 2 children pointed excitedly at deer grazing in a distant field. An elderly couple held hands, reminiscing about past journeys. The train stopped at a small station midway through the journey. Locals boarded, carrying baskets of fresh produce and handicrafts. They exchanged warm smiles with the passengers, sharing stories of the region. Some passengers bought snacks or souvenirs from vendors on the platform. The train resumed its journey, steam billowing as it picked up pace. Inside the carriages, the atmosphere was lively. A group of friends laughed over a card game, while a solo traveler sketched the landscapes passing by. The train's rhythmic clatter on the tracks created a soothing background hum. As the sun reached its peak, the conductor announced a brief stop at a scenic overlook. Passengers eagerly disembarked to stretch their legs and take in the view. The overlook was stunning, a cliffside perch with sweeping views of the valley below. Passengers snapped photos and admired the landscape. A few sat on a bench, absorbing the tranquility. The sound of the train's whistle signaled it was time to return. As the train continued its journey, the scenery gradually changed. The hills grew steeper, and the valleys deeper. The sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the landscape. Passengers settled into their seats, reflecting on the journey. Some sketched the landscapes they'd seen, others wrote in journals. As dusk approached, the sky turned a warm orange hue. The train descended into a narrow valley, the air growing cooler. Streetlights flickered to life in the towns below. The train's headlight illuminated the darkening path ahead. Passengers gathered their belongings, preparing to disembark. Finally, the train slowed into a station nestled in a valley. Passengers gathered their belongings, saying goodbyes to new friends made on the journey. The conductor called out, "End of the line." As passengers disembarked, they looked back at the train that had taken them through a day of beauty and calm. The train remained stationary, steam fading as the engine cooled. In the quiet evening, the hills stood tall around the station. Passengers dispersed into the twilight, carrying memories of the scenic ride. The old train waited for its next journey through the misty hills, its journey complete. The station grew quiet. The conductor and crew checked the train for the night. Outside, the night air filled with crickets and the distant hum of the valley. The train rested, ready for another day of winding through the hills, carrying passengers on journeys they'd never forget. The darkness deepened, and the stars began to twinkle. In the stillness, the train stood waiting, its fire banked but not extinguished. Tomorrow would bring another journey, another path through the hills. For now, it rested, a symbol of timeless travel, carrying stories and memories into the night.